Never.
Let's start the whole thing again.
Yeah, you'd never guess we do this all the time, would you?
Right. I'm really worried about the fact that I talk too fast. It was something that I made...
No. Have you got any secret tips and special tricks that you use for recording or mixing mic techniques or anything? We haven't talked about much about recording. We're talking mostly about mixing. So,
well,
recording.
Unusually. Well, nothing particularly unusual, I suppose. For when I'm recording guitars, if I have the microphones available, obviously, you go with what you've got. But I will always use, say, if it's a 4x12, it'll be a combination of a 57, always reliable old workhorse, a Sennheiser 421, and something large diaphragm like perhaps an 87 or 67, whatever this is, on it as well. I always close mic. I move the mics around. I'll get my assistant out, the poor sod out there moving everything around until I'll find the sweet spots for the particular microphone. Then I'll sum those down, perhaps through an EQ, perhaps not. Sometimes it depends. Straight to one track.
Right.
I'll always use 3 mics like that.
On the same speaker?
No, if it's a 4x12 on different speakers. Now, obviously you have to watch out for phase and all sorts of things, but it's never that big an issue. The other thing I'll always do is nearly always run a combo at the same time. So I'll split the signal and then run a 4x12 and a combo. Because the combo gives you so much middle and grunt things which you mix in with the 4x12, and that gives you that presence.
And does that go on the same track? Or do you
I'll use those. I'll keep those separate. As far as
how do you split the guitar signal?
I'll either use a guitar splitter, so like from the output of the effects pedals into the amps. So I'll come out a sort of
a Boss chorus pedal or something.
I think I actually use a Morley A plus B box. I think is what
Sounds
I use.
good.
Yeah, and that works pretty well. And that's something I always do. For drums, it's I'm the same as everybody else. I put my pants on one leg at a time. I use like 57s on the snare. Or what was it I used once I put Mono Valley? The guy had that was it. I can't remember. Was it a D19 or something? I can't remember. It was an old AKG mic.
190.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It was a funny looking little thing. It was a really old fashioned thing, and it sounded amazing.
On snare.
Yeah, it was awesome, and he just suggested it. The guy, I was like, it's great. I'll have to give my mate Jim a ring to find out what it was, but and I'll use again on the toms. I use 41s on the toms. I always mic the toms underneath. Always.
Do you?
Yeah, always.
That's interesting because I've got back into doing that recently.
Always, and then flip the phase on them, and because it gives you some. Then they'll go down to one track.
Yeah.
But that's where your tone lies. All the tone of the tom is there, is underneath. I mean, you get the smack on the top.
If it's tuned properly.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to do that. And hi-hat be like an 84 or something normal. I mean, the other thing I do, which I always do, is I set up what I call my crush mic, and it's again no different from anybody else really. I just get a mic which I normally place somewhere behind the drummer, or somewhere sort of down low near the bass drum, which is then utterly abused through a mic amp and a compressor and what have you, and you just need a whisper of that to blend in to make the drum kit sound whole. And the other thing I do is when I'm mixing is I'll always take the snare drum and I'll route it back through a mic amp and either re-record it or just have it running live if I'm on a desk. And it's distorted. I mean, you have to have just the right amount. And again, then what you do is you just need a whisper of it, and you get this bang, this big tone, and all the harmonics of the drum coming out, which is what I love. And I suppose is a somewhat trademark sound of mine. And again, you just need a hint of it, and suddenly it sounds like a proper drum kit again, to me. That's what drums sound like to me. It sounds like somebody making a big fucking racket in a room. And you get all that ring. I mean, dead drums sound so druish. I mean, obviously as an effect for a certain part of a song, for sure.
But you don't put ambient mics up miles away.
Yeah, I do put ambient mics up. Not massively far away, because you just get too much delay. I mean, I think, and I think also that's sort of the era of the kind of huge, Simple Minds, big country type drummer, Steve Lillywhite, I suppose, you sort of pull that off. Yeah, exactly, and fantastic sound, there's no doubt about it. But I think, fashions change.
Yeah.
And so I do use ambient mics a lot, and then I tend to kind of beef them up through a Chandler or something like that.
Do you ever use ambient miking for guitars apart from your three?
Very rarely. I do, but it will be a specific
A special effect.
Exactly. I won't. But otherwise, I mean, kind of music that I generally sort of do. You just don't need it. There's no space for it.
No.
You know, there's no way it's going to fit in.
Sure.
You know.
So the other question, what's your unique selling point? How do you sell yourself to potential clients and bands? What do you say to them to, I do this better than everybody else?
Well, I don't know if I ever say that. I'm far too humble for that sort of thing, George.
Of course.
I try not to speak quite so quickly as I've been doing, for one thing. I don't know. I think that's an interesting question, actually. I've never really been asked that. I think for me, the most important thing, and for a band, is for them to feel like I am going to make them sound great. I don't want to, I'm not going to try and make them sound like X, Y, or Z. I'm not going to replace members of the band. I'm going to make what they do the best that it can be in my limited capability, and whether that means sort of I'll add musical ideas here and there if they're necessary. I'm no great musician, but I have a good sense of melody and arrangement. I mean, that's, I suppose, sitting behind people playing drums and stuff. You tend to sort of get used to that, particularly just organising people. And I'm good at organising bands in the studio and making everyone feel involved.
Right.
I never do sort of all the drums, then all the bass, then all the
No.
things. I never do that. It's always sort of a couple of tracks of drums, then the bass, and some guitar, and then the next follows. So everyone has a day or so off.
Yeah.
And then back into it.
I
So
see.
everyone's enjoying themselves,
yeah.
and no one's sitting around for 3 months at the end. And I think I'm honest about it. I mean, I will make an honest appraisal of the record. I will super enhance what they do, which is how you make great records. Now you super enhance things. Guitars don't really sound like that, but we make them sound like that because they sound exciting. And I think perhaps that's what it's it really. I mean, you'd have to ask bands. I don't know. I mean, they seem to want to work with me, mugs. But I think it's that probably. I think I'm honest about it, and I will do the best I can for them, and I will work hard for them, and I will make them do things better than they think they could. Like everybody else, I'm no different than anybody else.